Hey guys, welcome back. We're here to talk about some real good stuff right now. We got Walking Dead, The Road to Survival. Pretty excited to talk about it.
All right.
We got Dash and Summer from
Scopely.
Thank you. Oh God, my fault. And my bro Dan from Skybound. So first off, Walking Dead: Road to Survival is a mobile game on Android, iOS. Can you guys tell me a little about the game? Like, what is it? People don't know. It's been out for a while, but what is the game?
So it's a tactical RPG, sort of that JRPG style. You've got a collection of characters, people you have rescued, people who have come to you. You're going to use them to survive as best you can in the world of The Walking Dead. And in the process, you're going to rebuild your town. You're going to try and find a place for yourself.
Right. It's very satisfying. I've spent some time playing it, and like when you're actually battling these zombies, it's like the effects are there. Like, you know, you're blowing off zombies' heads, you're getting criticals. It's a very actually satisfying feeling. So now, Road to Survival, where does it kind of fit, like in the kind of like, you know, Walking Dead, like, you know, like what, like?
I can probably speak to that. Yeah. So when we did the deal with Scopely, you know, we sort of looked at it. First of all, trying to do sort of a narrative experience and on mobile. Sort of that was the challenge. But what we came up with was we actually went and reached out to Jay Bonansinga, who wrote the novels with Robert. So he wrote a series of novels with Robert and sort of told the backstory of the governor. And so that was sort of the approach that we took as a sort of intro point into the game. So as a player, you basically are sort of a new set of characters, sort of finding out what happened to the governor before he became the governor. So you get a little bit more context from that angle as opposed to sort of the traditional sort of linear Rick Grimes story. But then you intersect with Rick and the gang and you sort of inhabit the town of Woodbury.
Well, that's actually a really cool angle. You've kind of built that into like the existing like storylines. So that's really awesome. Yep. And so the game's been out for almost around a year now, has it been?
Not quite a year now, yeah.
Approaching that mark. And I mean, it's been doing pretty well from what I understand, like tons of downloads, and people's been loving it.
Killing it.
And you guys have just added tons of content in the meanwhile since then as well, right?
Yeah. So we try to roll out an update as often as we can, and you know, some updates are bigger than others, of course, but we've added a bunch of content, loads of story chapters, loads and loads of characters, and great features as well.
And so most recently, I think you guys mentioned the ARMORY aspect to it, right? So what happens with the ARMORY feature? What can I use that for? How does that apply to the game?
The ARMORY allows you to customize your weapons. A bunch of different stats and things. It's an RPG, right? You want to maximize your firepower here, and the ARMORY allows you to tune which stats are on your weapons exactly. It also allows you to add special sort of exotic properties that do, I don't know, cool stuff.
Can you give me an example of like an exotic property? Like, what would it be like? Would it be like
so
fire,
for example,
or?
Yeah, making your weapon into something that makes your enemy bleed when you hit them. They take ongoing damage. Or adding a property that makes your weapon more effective against a particular type of enemy.
Right. Very cool. Is there any chance we can see like one of these weapons and just go into a battle just to kind of show the viewers like, you know, what the game is like? Because I feel like that's where, I mean, there's a lot of deep elements to the game, like leveling up and building your camp. But I just think like the battle, I felt like really satisfying. You go in there and you have like the feeling like the kind of hordes coming in from left and right. You have to choose like who you're gonna attack, how you're gonna attack, how you're gonna use your squad. I thought it was really cool actually.
Yeah. So we've got a team outfitted with some pretty badass weapons in here. Somebody want to?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's check. So you're
I just upgraded this weapon right now. It went from adaptable heavy machine gun to onslaught heavy machine gun. So you get the bonus perk of like awesome new names with the weapons that you get to craft. So right now we're gonna go into a battle.
Let's check that out.
So we want to go to roadmap. Is that right? Let's go to further along in the story. Where is it?
Where are we going into battle here?
Oh, jump in anywhere.
Jump in anywhere. Okay, here we go. Let's
I'm
go late stage kind of thing.
You go right to the end. Nice.
Yeah. We're not messing around here.
I can't wait to see.
Team A or Team B? That's the question here.
Okay, so there's cool things about the way you craft the teams together. Depending on who your enemies are, you compose a different set of characteristics. In Team 1 here, we have, let me get back here, to Ezekiel. We have Michonne, actually, who's being featured this month. This whole month is just all about Michonne because we love her. And she's got some pretty cool stats here. You can see here that she's part of the Telltale crossover from that logo right
Now
there.
that part's actually really awesome. We can stop
Yeah.
talking about this for a second. So you guys are taking there's a crossover between you guys and Telltale version of the game.
Yeah.
Can you guys tell us a little bit about that? I'm sorry to delay the battle part, but I just think that's really
We'll get there.
freaking
We
cool.
promise.
Right.
So Telltale's great. One of the best things about The Walking Dead, one of the many great things, is the story, right? And
Right.
they do such a fantastic job of telling that story. And we try to tell our part of it as well. And I think that makes them sort of natural partners for us.
Right.
And a couple of times, including this month, we've been able to do partnerships with them where we show their versions of well-known characters unique to their games, in our game, and so forth.
So yeah, over the holiday season last year, we ran the first crossover campaign with Telltale, and we basically introduced season 1, and so you could play as Lee, you could play as Clem. We sort of introduced the characters. You could collect those characters and then add them to your team and battle as Clem or Lee. So right now, this week, or earlier this week, we launched the Michonne crossover.
Right.
So specifically tailored to the Michonne miniseries that we just did this spring with Telltale.
Oh.
And so that's just getting started right now. So, as you go in, you can play into that sort of, it kind of takes what Telltale did narratively and sort of kind of follows that same storyline, but yet you can start collecting those characters from that.
I like that. It feels like so adhesive to the worlds, even more together.
Yep.
But if I were to get the game right now, would it be possible to still get Lee? Lee's still in the game there somewhere for me to get him?
He is, yes.
All right,
You
there we
can
go.
get
That's-
him. It won't be easy.
I'm willing to try for Lee. All right, there we go. That's
It's
pretty
worth
cool.
trying for.
But yeah, let's check out some battles. That's really cool. And
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
version
so
of Michonne over
this
here.
Yeah,
is
this-
the Michonne we have right here, the one that's being featured this month. She has a severed head in her hand, which
That
is,
looks awesome.
typical Michonne, right?
Right.
She's always severing heads. And we're also just anybody who's opening up the game and playing are going to get a free Michonne for this month as well.
Oh,
A
nice.
Yeah.
different Michonne than
Different
this Michonne, to be
you
fair.
got to earn the severed heads. They don't just give them out all willy-nilly, but
Still though, to get
Yeah.
Michonne is a pretty
she's a
badass.
pretty badass
thing.
character. Yeah, everybody loves Michonne.
Very cool. Let's see her in action,
And
right?
So there's also Shiva in the game, and Ezekiel and Negan. I mean, there's
There's
some
Shiva in the
pretty
game.
great
That's what,
characters.
that's what I'm curious. How is that going to look in the game? I can't wait to see.
It's gonna look like a tiger. It's gonna look like a fucking tiger.
I like how everyone has guns and weapons and just
You don't get
claws.
to change her weapon. That's just a claw. That's enough.
Yeah.
Already OP right
What else
there.
do you need,
That's-
right?
She's
Right,
got blood
exactly.
splatter all over her too.
So-
She doesn't mess around. No.
Let's
She's
stop
Shiva.
stalling and show them what this fight
There we
looks
go.
like.
It's
All right,
really,
let's
once
attack.
you see it, you'll be like, all right, I have to play this now. So here we go.
So this is sort of the classic JRPG style of battle. You're picking opponents and making attacks across the board here. Part of this...
Oh, that leaf.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that so
Yeah,
much.
there
Sorry
we
sorry
go.
about that. Just
No,
give me a
no. It's easy to get excited about, right?
So certain opponents have certain strengths and weaknesses. When you tap on this one, this guy right here, he's fast, right? So you're going to want to hit him with a tough character. And it kind of
Right.
indicates that on the game with these arrows up right here. So Ezekiel will do particular damage, and so will Shiva and Negan to this character right here.
In this case, we got a team loaded up with a bunch of tough guys.
Yeah.
And gals, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
any
still
player
very
out there
much
can kind of play the game and put together their own kind of dream team, right, with their favorite characters that are in there so far. And I think that's a really awesome kind of appeal to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's particularly great, I think, to be able to create in the game all of the variations of these characters. I mean, they take so many different sort of forms and presentations in the story.
What was that?
Yeah, Lucille
So that
says
was an
hello.
adrenaline rush. All of your characters, as they fight, they're going to charge up their special ability,
Right.
which is their adrenaline rush. And some of them are a heal, like the one that you just used. Some of them are, attacks against multiple enemies, cause all kinds of different effects. It's a
Do
pretty...
it. There it is.
There's
Maul.
Shiva. Shiva just mauled a guy to death.
Oh,
Look at that,
beautiful.
2,800
It's very satisfying feeling to
damage.
maul someone to death.
That's
So
it. It's
satisfying to see.
800%.
crushed or mauled.
Yeah.
Yes.
How
It's
long has Shiva
critical
been in
with,
there? Is that a recent addition or?
Shiva, I think we brought out Shiva, what,
March,
3 months?
like
March.
April,
March.
sometime
Oh,
in
wow.
March, April. Earlier this year, at the beginning of the year, we launched Faction Wars,
Right.
sort of tied to an all-out war campaign, which for anybody who reads the comic knows full well. That's sort of the introduction of Negan, and the world sort of opens up, the world of The Walking Dead, where you see sort of different communities sort of gathering into groups and then fighting each other.
Right.
So that's really where The Walking Dead sort of really takes off, and you know, for people who are fans of the TV show, you know full well what's coming. So,
yes.
you know, it's the beginning of where the comic book is way far out and ahead of.
Oh, man.
So we launched this campaign around February, I think, and it's called Faction Wars, which allows you to sort of get into factions and then fight other players in groups. And every weekend, we're running these all-out war, these faction campaigns. So you're fighting battles with other groups.
That's really awesome. I just love how you guys just keep on drawing from, like, you know, that rich world of, like, The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
There's so much to draw from. So coming up here, not to spill the beans too much, but we actually have another feature called Faction Territories, which builds upon that and adds it adds a lot, right? But one of the key things is a big territory map where our factions can go and capture portions of the Walking Dead world, hold on to them. They provide you benefits in the game, bonuses to your entire faction, and they last until somebody comes and takes that territory from you.
So you're saying, like, you know, each of us here could be part of a different faction, and, like, if we're on the same faction and I help take over this territory, me and you're gonna get that bonus until, like, you know, Summer comes in and kicks my ass with Shiva, right?
Will happen.
Absolutely.
Will happen.
That's really cool.
The whole fight there is a team effort. It's not going to be just Summer coming in to kick you out. It's going to be Summer and her whole group, her whole faction.
Yeah, don't mess with us.
Very cool. This
You're
is
going
really
down.
intent, like a really awesome portion of the game. So that's going to be in the future sometime.
Yeah, that's coming up later.
All
Not
right.
going to say when, but it's
Soon.
exciting. Soon.
Very cool. But from my understanding, there's also a contest going on right now, right?
It's true. There is. We're doing a sweepstakes right now to celebrate the month of Michonne. So doing everything to kind of celebrate how much of a badass she is. We have a big prize pack that's worth like I think like 5 or 6 things together. It's worth like $880 something. So
Right.
it's like pretty hefty prize.
We have a portion of it right now.
Yeah.
So this
And,
is especially insane. I feel like you can't even put like a monetary value on this because it's like.
We
all
tried
you
it
got
hard.
Lucille over there.
Sentimental value is through the roof.
Oh, absolutely.
So this
There's a
is the
signed comic right
Michonne
here.
edition, so the sort of special Michonne edition that is signed by Charlie and by Robert.
Wow.
So that's one of the prizes.
Yeah.
Again, this is a combination, so they come as a package. There's the red foil compendium
Oh,
one.
how
hardcover.
beautiful is that?
Again,
Also signed?
by Charlie and Robert.
Oh.
So again, as a
That's
package.
definitely a collector's piece
There
right there.
is the wonderful, Lucille.
That is nice.
Lucille.
Full size. I love
our
that.
friend Lucille, who everybody knows and loves.
I kind of want to just keep that myself. but,
Yeah,
Use
You're
a
not
weapon in the
alone.
game too. You can use that weapon in the game.
And
Yep.
we have a variety of other Skybound merchandise that will be included as well. And
Now, if
so-
I was the folks watching, I want to enter this contest. So,
Yeah.
to my understanding, you can find out more about how to enter by going to The Walking Dead RTS Twitter.
Yes,
And
at
all the
Walking Dead
information's
RTS.
right there.
Yeah, go check it out. Tweet to enter why you love Michonne. And we're doing it 3 days, so 3 people will actually win.
There we go,
So
guys.
enter today, do it
Walk-
again tomorrow, and then the next day.
Wouldn't be
Walking Dead
Comic-Con without
RTS.
swag.
No.
What's
it
up,
wouldn't.
guys?
Hey, Mike.
Oh, hey.
How's it going?
I'm actually pretty hungry, man.
Yeah.
How you guys
This
feeling?
game
I
makes you
skipped
hungry,
lunch.
Mike.
It does make you hungry, and
Yeah,
I have
dude.
a surprise for all of you.
Oh.
Uh-huh. Since you guys have been working with Jack in the Box here at Comic-Con, I brought you some awesome Jack in the Box for you
Oh
guys.
boy. All right.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys have been doing here at the con?
Yeah. What's going on with Jack in the Box?
Thank you, sir.
So right now it's near Petco Stadium in a big walking area. It's free to the public. There's a photo booth activation where there's a Jack in the Box drive-through that's very post-apocalyptic and walkerified or zombified.
I love how
whatever you
someone's
want to
actually
say.
doing like the work of explaining while everyone else is kind of like just getting into the food.
Wait for me. Don't eat it all.
That's really cool.
Nice.
I'm definitely gonna stop by one of these mornings. Oh.
Yeah, go take a
you.
picture. Stand in front of a pose with a real live walker. Well, dead walker, I guess. Undead walker. And get your photo taken. Yeah, it takes 4 photos, so it turns into a GIF, and then you can share it, and there's a free printing station, and it's fun. It's a fun activation.
This seems really cool. I haven't stopped by yet, but Summer showed me the photo, and it actually looks really cool. So if you're in the area, definitely stop by. I will be. So that was really cool.
Guys.
But yeah, awesome. Thank you, Jack in the Box, for the hookup.
Yeah, thanks.
What do you got in there?
Oh, I got the curly fries. What else do I have in here? Let me see.
We're doing with free food.
Oh. Onion rings. Oh man, I love onion rings. What else? What'd you guys get?
I could do with some onion rings.
I got some ranch
Got
in
some
mine.
onion rings over here.
Not bad.
Nothing like curly fries with ranch.
Very cool. So thank you, Jack in the Box, and the activation seems awesome. We'll definitely stop by. That's great. Now I'm fed. I can't ask for more than that. But cool. So like, how do you guys figure out like what you're gonna do next in the game? Because it feels like there's so much to draw upon that you guys have done, and now that you guys have done the stuff with like Telltale content and what do you figure out? Like,
let me be clear. You want me to not eat? You want me to talk about the game?
just for a moment, man.
That's cruel.
Just feed
That's
the,
cruel. Let him eat,
gotta feed
man.
me in a different way. You know what I mean? With knowledge.
I guess I can do that. So, how do we pick what to do next? It's complicated, right? So we look at a lot of different things. We poll our users, we ask them what they're interested in, and we try to focus on that stuff. But at the same time, we're looking at what is right for the game, what's going to build it out, what's going to complement the features we have, and take the game in new and interesting directions. We understand there are different kinds of players, different, people into different parts of the game.
Right.
Some people are all about killing the walkers, some people are all about killing each other, right?
Sure, it's all their own,
And
right?
those different players need different experiences, and so we try to, if not alternate, then at least, give something for each of them over time.
So what kind of feedback have you seen from players? I'm sure there's a ton of it. You guys have so many people playing the game.
Loads.
What kind of feedback, can you give me an example of what people have kind of wanted and how you've delivered, or things you're considering maybe?
Sure, so we see feedback, we see mountains of feedback, so I could almost say anything here and it would be true, but we get a lot of feature suggestions from our users, and it's always amazing to me as a game designer to look at what they're doing or what they're suggesting and go, yep, that's definitely what we're on the same wavelength.
Right.
Let's do that. And that's cool both because we know our users want it and because it validates what we think is going to be great for the game and says, yes, this is actually going to be cool. People are hyped.
What's the number one thing people ask for?
Yeah.
Well, up until we released it, last month, the number one thing people asked for was weapon crafting, our ARMORY feature. Now, I'm not sure what's next up on the list, but faction territories towards the top. A couple of other features that I'm not going to get into just yet.
Of course.
People tend to get really excited about PvP features.
Oh, sure. I think that's a really cool thing to kind of draw you in. I mean,
Exactly.
I get really pumped when it comes to the PvP stuff because you kind of take it personally, especially if you're part of a faction. You want to make sure your team wins. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah, band together. Communities rise out of this, and people really get to know each other through the game, and it's fun to kind of band together and take on other teams and kind of play the game in a more communal way.
Right.
That competitive spirit is really alive and well in our game. I'll put down the food here.
Yeah, I got to just give a shout out to my faction, Fulton's finest, and
Nice,
our
nice.
fearless leader, Gravewalker.
Oh,
He's
wow,
out
there we
there,
go.
Gravewalker.
Shout out to Gravewalker. There we go.
You're the one. I'm following you, whatever you do. So.
That's awesome,
Nice.
actually.
I actually think Gravewalker's a great name for one of the characters. I don't know, maybe
I
you
think
could throw
it's
it in there.
cool. Fits right in.
Fulton's finest. There we go.
Finest.
So how do you figure out? Just real quick, how do you figure out whether you take from the book or the TV show? That's one thing I was always curious because there's there's so much to kind of take from.
Sure.
Yeah. Everything pretty much comes from the comic, so, we stick very much, in everything at Skybound, sort of it's very comic and creator-led.
Right.
So when it comes to The Walking Dead, we're very sort of, I guess what makes us excited is when we see people like Scopely and the developer, which is Ayugo, basically take a risk and sort of create their new interpretation of the content.
Right.
So really being able to sort of understand, what gets fans of The Walking Dead excited, but yet not just take something directly from the comic, but expand the universe.
Right. Well, that is an awesome approach. So I think we're about to wrap up, but two things, guys. Number one, definitely head over to Walking Dead RTS on Twitter and enter this contest because that looks amazing. Signed by Kirkman himself. I mean, come on. And also, grab the game. Walking Dead Road to Survival, available on both iOS and Android, right?
You know it.
Free in both app stores.
Guys, thank you very much. The game looks awesome. I'll definitely be playing more. Maybe I'll figure out which faction to join in, so we'll talk
Think about
later.
my faction, too.
We'll
My
follow up,
faction's a
man.
good one.
There we
Maybe
go.
for you, I'll
There
kick
we go.
somebody out. See if Gravewalker will kick somebody out.
Oh, there we go. All right, guys. Thanks for joining.
Nice.
We'll be right back with some more awesome content. Stick right there.